What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. The Electronic Entertainment Expo has just drawn to a close, and I think we can agree that this year was a bit of a mess. We had announcers forgetting their lines, streams crashing, and trailers for lame DLC. But we also had some amazing games that were truly mind-blowing. So this week, I want to do something special. We're going to do two separate top 5s. Let's count down the best of the best and the fails that were absolutely epic. So let's start out by looking at the good first. These are my picks for the top 5 best games of E3 2017. Number 5. Spider-Man. In a year where the word exclusive was thrown around constantly for stuff that didn't need it, Sony had a project that's actually going to call only the PlayStation 4 home. Many of us have been dying for more details on Marvel's Spider-Man, and they brought it out in a big way. This super long demo they showed off displayed a unique style of combat that looks like a blend of Arkham Asylum's rhythm with cinematic moments straight out of the movies. It creates a sense that we get to be the web-slinger himself, especially when you're chasing helicopters and flipping slow motion over punches. Along with that, I really ate up the main boss, Mr. Negative. He looks truly evil, and it got me even more excited to finally get this in my hands. Number 4. Super Mario Odyssey. Nintendo is the type of company that doesn't surprise me very often. Typically their conferences are just announcing titles that we've heard of before or sequels to beloved old-school franchises. However, Mario Odyssey breaks the mold by being just so strange that it almost looks like the start of a new series altogether. Our high-jumping plumber has somehow found a magic hat that lets him attack foes long distance, hop on it for extra huge jumps, and even mind-control bad guys. Look! He used his hat to go into the brain of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This seriously has the potential to be as groundbreaking and revolutionary to the platforming genre as Mario was all those decades ago back on the Nintendo 64. Number 3. A Way Out. At this point, couch co-op has nearly gone extinct, and that genuinely makes me sad. Getting to take on challenges with your friends right by your side creates a unique bond among people. A Way Out's developer seems to totally agree with that idea, because his game is all about the struggle to find freedom when the only person you can trust is player 2. These convicts are both stuck in prison for a very, very long time, and they aren't thrilled about it. Rather than rot in a jail cell for the rest of their days, they start coming up with a plan to escape. What's most interesting about this gameplay to me is that the camera is always locked in split screen. Whether your partner is bribing guards, getting into fistfights, or just sleeping, you need to keep an eye on each other. By staying sharp, thinking ahead, and relying on your partner, you may discover a path outside. Number 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2. The first Battlefront game came out a few years ago and was met with some honestly pretty negative reviews. Fans were upset that the shooting sucked, maps were boring, and there wasn't even a tiny bit of story. For this follow-up, they've made it very clear that they heard our complaints and are bringing passion to the sequel. Online multiplayer has been completely redone for the better. They've introduced an in-depth class system. You're no longer just grabbing random power-ups to use vehicles, and my personal favorite thing is that they've added in loads of new heroes. They're even giving us access to Darth Maul, one of the nastiest psychopaths in the entire universe. The thought that I'm going to be able to use these twin lightsaber blades to chop up dudes in levels that span the length of the epic galaxy is so awesome. To top it off, the teaser trailers for the story appear to be just as dark and fantastic as the grittiest Star Wars novels. Number 1. Anthem. We didn't see a ton of this at E3, but nonetheless, my attention is fully locked from the tiny peek we got. BioWare is best known for their grand RPGs like Mass Effect, and yet this game seems more focused on laser guns than talking. We get set loose in a twisted future where mankind has been relocated to a planet with hostile life already on it. The only thing keeping us safe is a mysterious structure simply called the Wall. It's inside this ancient building that we've made our home, but existence is about more than just basic survival. It's now the duty of the bravest and strongest among them to put on these advanced mech suits and fly across the land, slaying the deadliest of monsters to reclaim territory. Watching the gameplay gives the impression that this will be a mix of Destiny, Final Fantasy XIV, and of course have a touch of Iron Man. Hopefully we get a beta for this or something soon so it's possible for fans themselves to explore this beautiful, corrupted world. Man, those games just look so good, but now let's move on to the bad. These are my picks for the top 5 fails of E3 2017. Number 5. DLC everywhere. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I always thought that the point of E3 was to bring out all the secret projects you've had hidden away to garner interest in the new directions you want to take gaming in. Unfortunately, most companies were far too busy just wasting time during their short conferences with dumb trailers showing off downloadable content for their existing games. Personally, I have nothing against DLC. In fact, some add-on maps turn out to be the best part of a particular game, but using your limited stage minutes to chat about season passes and stuff seems like a bad idea. If only one studio did this, it wouldn't be so painful, and yet essentially everyone did it back to back, and it was such a freaking letdown. Number 4. Xbox One X confusion. As a whole, I believe that most people agree that Microsoft had a pretty solid showing of new games in 2017. Their press conference featured a grand total of 42 games. Although some were smaller indie titles, they were exciting anyways, but the situation went quickly off the rails when they unveiled their latest hardware. The Xbox One X is apparently a new model of their Xbox One that'll output in higher resolution and maybe make range shinier or something. They weren't super clear. It's hard to tell what exactly the point of this device is. My good friend YouTuber RGT85 said that after watching Microsoft's E3 press conference, he wanted to buy an Xbox for the first time, but even he couldn't fathom why anyone would get an upgraded X. You confused your audience instantly by telling them that all these games are great to play, while also insisting that they need this $500 piece of tech that really doesn't do anything vastly different. Number 3. Sony's sloppy sound. Imagine if you are a major developer and you are about to go live in front of the entire internet to explain why everyone should be hyped for the upcoming year of gaming. Just a thought, but you may want to take a second to tap the microphone and make sure it's working properly. On the big day, there were 2 separate streams going on for Sony's briefing, and for one of them, they didn't make sure that audio was connected. Funny enough, this happened to be the one that every single website chose to be streaming from at the same time, which means that hundreds of thousands of fans tuned in to see silent trailers. What made this moment far more hilarious is that they kept switching to a crowd camera that didn't have working sound either, so we got a silly show of muted teasers in a dead silent room. It's probably a good plan next E3 to tap the microphone a couple times just to make sure that you're 100% positive that we can hear what you have to say. Number 2. Bethesda's paid mods. Here we have a studio that just seems absolutely obsessed with trying to find new ways to sell their old games. Recently, Bethesda combined forces with Steam to do an experimental program where you could purchase mods for Skyrim. You know, the things that are normally free. The test period was an utter disaster as people were stealing mods that others had created, making broken mods that could hurt your PC, or just flat out lying about what the mod does. You'd think a launch that catastrophic would scare them away from attempting it again, and yet here we are. Bethesda Creation Club is supposedly going to correct the issues of that initial rollout by having much closer policing by actual employees. They claim that they're going to check everything put in the store or only allow top community modders to add things to the marketplace. No matter how you slice it, this still adds up to paid mods, and already there's some serious backlash coming from this announcement. Just taking a glance at their video explaining how all this works shows that fans are seeing right through their fancy talk and know that this really isn't here to help anyone except their bankers. Number 1. Need for freeze. Stage fright can be a hell of a thing. Even when you practice your lines for hours and prepare a perfect speech, the second you're in front of that crowd, everything changes. Jesse Wellens is some sort of YouTube prankster who isn't really known for his talented public speaking, but EA decided to spend tons of money flying him out for this event. The moment it was his time to shine though, he completely froze up. Jesse quietly mumbled a few lines about being a content maker, coughed out the words "Need for Speed" a couple times, and then stood there silently looking terrified. Sadly, I can't really use the original audio because there's a chance that Electronic Arts will take this video down, so let me reenact it for you.
Hey guys, I'm Jesse Wellens. Need for Speed. Content. I had like 38 billion subscribers. I don't know how to read the teleprompter. Oh god, I'm bombing. Man, I'm so... They paid me in potato chips.
I genuinely feel bad for the guy, but it really happens to all of us at some point. So even still, I am awarded this my pick as the biggest fail of E3 2017. Did your favorite game or fail not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Sometimes in the comments, you guys will ask, if you could put one more game on the list, what would it have been? Well, this week, I'll actually tell you what it is. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, as you can see by my shirt here. I really wanted to put that Dragon Ball Z fighting game on here, but there just wasn't room, so consider that my honorable mention. And it was a total dumpster fire. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.